Burtraw, we'll be happy to hear from you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Dallas Burtraw. I'm a senior fellow at Resources for the Future, a 54-year-old research institution here in Washington, D.C. RFF takes no institutional positions. All my comments are represent my own views. I have studied cap and trade programs in existence today from a scholarly and practical perspective for several years. An early lesson of these programs is that they can almost always be counted on to deliver their expected environmental results. That is, whenever an emissions cap is articulated, and that cap will be obtained as long as there is credible monitoring, strong data systems, and credible enforcement. The exceptions when the environmental cap has not been achieved are anachronisms, and they can be easily avoided. The more important issue from an environmental perspective is what should be the level of the cap, and responsibility for that is a social decision that falls your way. However, given a well-articulated environmental goal, a cap-and-trade approach is a reliable tool to achieve that goal. A primary motivation for choosing this tool is to achieve cost savings relative to traditional prescriptive regulatory approaches. In general, we can identify substantial accomplishments in cost savings here as well, but we might say the glass is only half full. Substantial cost savings fall short of the economically feasible because the programs, as they sometimes are adopted, depart from transparent market design in an attempt to accommodate a variety of special considerations that are important to one party or another. This leads to a first lesson that rises above others that we could offer. The key to a successful program is simple rules and transparent design. This is the best assurance of efficiency and that fairness is achieved. The SO2 trading program that was established by the 1990 Clean Air Act amendments perhaps comes closest in many ways to achieving this ideal. The second observation that rises above the others is the importance of allocation, that is, the initial distribution of emission allowances. In the case of even a modest policy affecting just the electricity sector in this country, there will be created an asset worth $30 to $40 billion per year, and that wealth will be distributed into the economy. Complicated rules for allocation can provide a cloak for unfair wealth transfers of huge proportions. Where does this wealth come from? Emission allowances are an intangible property right that is created by the program where no property rights existed previously, just as legal systems in the 19th century created a property right in the great American West. And it's of comparable magnitude. For the most part, it is consumers who fund this wealth creation. It is important to note that emitters do not bear all or necessarily even most of the costs of the program. Those costs are borne by consumers and by other businesses. So the free distribution of allowances to emitters, especially in the electricity sector, can lead to gross overcompensation, that is, extra normal profits, at the expense of consumers because the value of allowances greatly exceeds the compliance costs and the investments that emitters would be expected to put in place in order to comply with the program. By way of guidance, there are not many things you can get a group of economists to agree on. But one is the virtue of an auction for the initial distribution of emission allowances. Virtually all public finance economists support an auction of allowances because it can, for technical reasons, result in dramatic efficiency gains. Also, an auction yields a source of revenue that can be used to achieve a variety of complementary policies, including research and development or direct compensation for consumers or severely affected industries. In summary, I am a strong advocate for efficiency in climate policy because it is possible that so much will be asked of the American people in this century that it is essential that we adopt policies that are efficient. Cap and trade is a tool to achieve that outcome. I ask you to keep two principles in mind. One is a determined focus on simplicity and transparency in the design of the program. That means a presumptive no to many bells and whistles that may be suggested. Secondly, remember the crucial role of allocation. An auction should play the most important role at the beginning of the program and a growing role over time. Despite these lessons from experience, you will be deluged with suggestions for fixes to potential or imagined problems. Those fixes are then likely to incur a whole new set of problems. In order that we learn our lessons from history and not from the school of unintended consequences, I emphasize the importance of principled market design. There could be obtained a point where it's just not worth it to use cap and trade. We have other policies, such as prescriptive regulation, to help us get started. And moving to cap and trade, it is essential that we adopt a strong architecture because this is an institution that may be with us for the better part of a century. A badly designed cap-and-trade system can erode political will and serve as a cloak for huge transfers of wealth. However, done right, cap-and-trade is the preemptive choice for broad-based climate policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burtraw.